Well, anyway, hi, ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobop 1987. This is my review for today. I need to calm down a little bit because I gotta hurry up and do this, my next movie review. And yes, ladies and dudes, it's very darn true. This movie is another adaptation of the great Shakespeare storyline of all time called Hamlet. And it's another revenge movie. That's for sure. So for my next movie review is The Northman. Yep. It's a Viking movie. That's for sure. And I gotta tell you the truth right now, ladies and dudes. This is the only movie I will watch. One time and one time only. And I will never watch this film ever again. Because this movie is a bit too much for my taste. That's for sure. But there are some good moments I do like about the film. But there's a couple bad moments I don't like about the film. So, it's kind of like good. It's a good movie in some rights. Hard for me to say. So, anyway, without further ado, ladies and dudes, here's my movie review of The Northman. Now, what the hell I should say about the main plot of the story? It's a story about this Viking prince. I forgot his name anyway. He has to go on a quest to, grow up, become a man, and come back to the village that he came from and seek out revenge on his uncle for what he had done to his father. He just murdered his own brother at the process. The young prince's uncle. The prince's uncle had killed the young boy's father for whatever reason it's going to be, and he has to rule over the kingdom and all that stuff. So he needs to grow up, get older, and become a man, and, big giant bloodshed that's going to happen in Iceland, I think. Hard for me to explain about the main plot of the story. So that's all I could say about the main plot of the story of The Northman. I guess everybody wants to know is, what the heck do I think about this movie? Well, to tell you the truth, ladies and dudes, I will say it's a pretty darn good movie to watch. But this is the only time I'm going to watch this movie. And one time is good enough for me, because this movie is a bit too much for my taste. I think it's because there are some too much information here and there, and a few oh heck no moments that happen here and there. I will say it's a good oh heck no movie, but a bit too much for my taste. I will say the storyline is fine for the most part. I will take it back. It is a good storyline for the most part. I will say the characters are fine as they are, except for two characters who are truly the best parts about the film. Just two. It has good sceneries and highlight moments of the film. It had a really good score, fantastic cinematography. The plot twist is kind of iffy for me, and I think the ending is my least favorite ending out of all the endings I've seen in movie history. I really don't like the ending of this movie. Something that involves too much information for me. And yeah, the casting is good. I like the casting. I just feel bad for one actor I knew and loved that had a very small role in it. So I will say, let's go on to my strongest points and the weakest points of The Northman. I will go with the weakest points out of the way first. I will say for my weakest points of this movie is, this movie's a bit too much for my taste. There's some stuff here and there that's way too much for me to handle. There was one scene in the movie that really did break my heart. There was one scene in the movie that I feel so uncomfortable with, and it took place somewhere like 20 or 30 minutes later to the film. You know what the Vikings had done to those little children. There was a part where those Vikers, whoever these people are, they hold those poor little kids hostage in an abandoned house, and one of those two dudes used those torch things that featured fire, and they burned those kids alive. That was way too much for me to handle. It just broke my heart. I just feel bad for those little children. That was way too much for me to handle. And yeah, there was too much nudity going on. There are a couple of nudity scenes I will enjoy for the movie, but there's some other nudities I don't like from the movie. Something that was a bit too much for my taste. And sadly, poor Mr. Will Dafoe, if I remember right, he's only in 2 or 3 scenes of the movie. Yeah, he had the most smallest role in the whole entire film. Besides, that guy had a strong cult following after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, partly. I feel bad for one of the most greatest underrated actors of all time, who had a very, 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 very over 9,000 small role in the film. And the saddest part is his character died. How long are we going to keep this great actor who's going to play a character here and there who's going to die in a film? What the hell? That makes me mad. Big time. I sure hope and pray when I see the poor things, I hope things will turn things around for Mr. Green Goblin. That's for sure. And another thing is, I just don't like the ending. The ending was a bit too much for my taste. I don't know why the hell they want to add that part at the end of the movie. That was way too violent, way too much information for my taste. Ugh. So I will say my weakest point in the movie, there's so many scenes here and there that was a bit too much for my taste. Now I will say for my strongest points of the movie, I will go with this guy and this lovely blonde-haired lady. I will say these two characters right here in this picture, they are truly the best parts I love about this movie. And I really do love their relationship very darn much in the whole entire film. They had such good character development and very good chemistry, and I do pay my respects of their love story in this film. And they get along so darn well. And I do like this main character played by that Alexandra dude, since I remembered him when he played Tarzan from The Legend of Tarzan. And he did a pretty good job playing a very good main character of the film. So overall, I only care about those two characters, the two main characters in the whole entire film. And I just love them very much. And they have very good scenes with each other. So I'd rather pay my respects to the love story in this film and not the revenge story. And I'm sorry I can't remember their names, sadly to say. So overall, I'll go ahead and tell you about my final thoughts about this film. Overall, The Northman is a pretty good movie, but I will say this is one of these films I vow to never rewatch again, because it had too much stuff in it. I will say the storyline was pretty good for the most part. The characters are fine, except for 2 that I enjoyed the best. I love the sceneries and highlight moments of the film. It had a really good score, good cinematography, and the casting is good. I feel bad for Mr. Green Goblin, though, for having a small role in this movie. And I guess it's a fine adaptation of Hamlet. It's a fine one indeed. So I decided to give this film an 8.5 out of 10. And that's all I could say about that. Okay, ladies and dudes, that's my whole entire movie review of The Northman. And tell me, ladies and dudes, what is your favorite adaptation of all time that came from in the Shakespeare story called Hamlet? Well, whichever it is, leave a comment there and let me know. Mine will always be The Lion King. That will be my most easiest Hamlet adaptation I know the best. That's for sure. And that's all I have for now. So I'll see you all later, and sayonara.